Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Kentucky Route Zero. We're going to start Act 4 today, and my guess is spend 45 minutes reading a phone book. Let's get into it. I kid, obviously I'm having a great time here. Oh yeah, remember this? This robotic mammoth has seen better days. I guess that's true of all of us. .4 Context Backlash. General wear on the gestural gear mounting apparatus may result in undesirable play between teeth in the context and history state machine gears, causing stuttering, slippage, resetting, skipping. I guess it could be slippage. If left unresolved, gear slop can gradually throw limbs out of alignment, blend motions, and decontextualize gestures. See also sections 1.8 General Troubleshooting and 5.3 Gesture Context. Well, decontextualization of gestures sounds like a real problem. Alright, gesture context. All gestures happen in a context. The set of preceding gestures, the overall orientation, and extended variables such as time of day and interior affect gear angles, or affect. It's probably affect gear angles, right? Then we can make a Babe reference and throw the manual into a river. It seems like this manual, it has information in it. I don't know if it's important information. Maybe I had to just read this thing back to front. Here's the real problem. I don't have the context to understand this section about context. Oh, my savior. Our friend here's in a bad way. Any insight? It's time to put that mammoth out to pasture, Will. Oh, I feel certain she's got a few trips left in her. If only she had a more capable surgeon. Sadly, mechanics are in short supply down here. I think the setting is too romantic. It scares them off. What brings you down to the Echo tonight? I always end up here eventually. Yeah, the river's like that. It always has been. We picked you up at the Bureau tonight. Never seen you that far upriver before. Hope that doesn't mean you've been traveling on the Zero. Yeah, have you been there, the Zero? Oh, no, not me. This old river rat steers clear of weird highways. I've been traveling this river for more than half my life, more or less alone. I think I've seen it change quite a bit in all those years, but I can't say for sure. Water has a peculiar way of making a person forgetful. Some nights I remember a place, but it's full of strange new people. And some nights I meet an old friend on an unfamiliar shore. I wonder which kind of night this is. Man, they should, oil that thing. I'm just saying, all that grinding can't be good for the, trunk? Yeah, it's a trunk. Can't be good for, the face parts of the mucky mammoth. So these are new characters, right? I don't think we've met Will before. Let's go meet the other new person here. Assuming Kate is the woman and not the dog. Hey, how's that cold river spray treating you? Thought I saw you squinting. It's hard water, hard on the eyes. Still irritates mine a little, and I'm piloting a tugboat through it 6 nights a week. Don't be too shy to close them in public. Your eyes, I mean. People will just assume you're thoughtful. You need tea? So... Babe will let it cap then, definitely. Boiled lichen. Maybe wolf tooth? Just kidding. Caterpillar fungus, licorice, ginger, and dried spring agaricus. Are these are different types of tea, not the ingredients in one type of tea, I'm assuming? Listen, how far are we from Dogwood Drive? That's kind of the whole thrust of this thing. The Echo's dicey tonight. Bad luck for you. Expect waves and diversions. Dogwood Drive is by the Silo Mail stop, but we may need to spend some time on the indirect route before we hit your stop, okay? And there's other business. Mail to drop off, garbage to pick up, and a few favors to execute, all dotted on the riverbanks from here to there. I hope you enjoy the trip on our little mammoth. Take advantage of all the amenities. Fresh air, cozy bunks, hot tea, The video room? There's some pretty interesting tapes down there, actually. Unusual, I mean. Weird. Watch out that VCR doesn't take your hand off, though. It's untrustworthy. That's, what's wrong with the VCR? I could take a look at it. Oh, please do. I don't know anything about electronics. Maybe try a few different tapes, you'll get the picture. Hey, do me a favor. Go ask Will how repairs are going and if he needs anything. We're coming up on the next stop here, just refueling and picking up a few things. I could grab a bolt or some wire or something, whatever he needs. Well, eyes on the road. Yeah, maybe Shannon could help out with the poor mammoth. Because, it's given me bad feelings. Aside from the fact that it's an annoying noise, I'm sad on its behalf. Will is singing to himself quietly. We on mold and whiskey fed and... Oh! Wet gears. Sorry, wet gears? Probably. Who knows? First thing I tried, anyway. Down here by this little blue box, I took all the gears out and dried each one by hand and then loaded them back in again. And that took care of the grinding sound, but her trunk keeps doing that sparking, clanking, weeping thing. To be honest with you, I'm not really qualified for this work. Kate's a friend, you know how it is, don't you? Yeah, Kate was asking if you needed anything when we stopped. Listen, I want to get to know everybody. I want to learn everybody's story, but also there are important things to do. Well, hell, I don't know. Scratch ticket? Well, I think she meant, parts, or... Ah, I wouldn't know if I did. Feels like Shannon should be volunteering here, right? So, how do you and Kate know each other? So, you ever walk through rolling farmland? It just drove, I guess. Right. Nobody does it, unless it's their land to farm. I mean, they'll walk from barn to tractor to truck, Well, I sure did. I slipped under or over fences, and I walked barefoot with the seeds when they were just planted. Tilled the earth with my toes. Hey, I should tell you where I left my shoes. Did you know I'm a classically trained organist? Oh! The organist at the bureau was wearing brightly colored shorts. I thought it was strange. I don't have a good enough memory to remember if it is him, but it's probably him. It's true. Look at these long fingers and pedal-gripping toes. It doesn't matter. A minor in French literature earned me a position teaching art de Zola at the university. Well, some shitty governor cut state funding for our department, and I was demoted to mopping floors, running wiring through walls, or in dangerous places. I even operated the soundboard at the student theater. When I left my shoes there, at the university, it was a protest. Walk without shoes for something important or tragic. I ended up by the shore, and soon I was drifting along the Echo. It ran for a while above ground then. It doesn't anymore. But I prefer subterranean waters anyway. Kate brings me along, and I record what I see and hear. I try to help with maintenance, I drop off the mail, pick up the trash. On occasion, I take the helm. Anyway, that's all I try to remember anymore. I listen to the river's stories, and my own get fainter and fainter. Well, I'll just keep drying gears, I guess. Again, I feel like I should know a thing that could be helpful. Ezra runs up to Shannon. Whoa, slow down, it's slippery up on deck. Do you have batteries? Yeah, of course. Obviously, of course I just carry batteries around. What for? Johnny said I could use his tape recorder, but it needs a battery. Oh, fun. Well... Shannon searches her pockets. Here's 4 different kinds. Surely one of these will fit. Thank you. She really does just walk around with a tremendous number of batteries. By the way, I'm not doing this. She's just kind of wandering off by herself. Oh, because I'm Ezra now. You got your batteries, small man. Go get you some tape. I want to talk to Kate. I guess we could walk around the other side of the boat to talk to Kate. And the advantage of that would be that we are further away from the mammoth. Seems like Blue's having a good time. I wonder if dogs... I've never been with a dog on a boat. I wonder if dogs are uncomfortable on boats. Kate is... Right, Kate's working. Kate's busy. She doesn't have time for my nonsense. That's a neat effect. Some musicians. Some different musicians. Really? No, sorry, these are our musicians. You were entranced. You don't remember this? It's okay. We've all seen a lot of concerts. Cyrano opened, his tape machine was broken or something, it got really cosmic. Right, at the flower shop. I remember that show, Sorry, Clara. Well, you have a second chance to hear it tonight. That was fast. You got the batteries? Let's see. Perfect, this one will do. So, you hit this button here to record. Hold it right here so you don't cover the microphone with your hand. I bet you'll find a lot of good sounds just around the tugboat. There's plenty of tape in there, so don't be stingy with it. Just record anything that catches your ear. It really changes the way you listen. For the better, I mean. Yeah, let's talk to Clara a little bit. Are you playing a concert tonight? I could record that. Yeah, Clara here came all the way from Lithuania just to do this Echo River gig. Well, it's a tour. Tomorrow I'll be in Nashville, and then Atlanta, and then over to the coast. Brutal. Well, we're lucky she's making a stop. Johnny and I saw her play once, and I remember loving it. And Johnny was moved. Speaking of Cyrano, it's his night at the rum colony. Kate said she usually stops off there. Well, that's ideal. I was supposed to meet a lady there to look at some old engine parts about 3 hours ago. 3 hours goes fast at the rum colony, ma'am. I bet she's still there. I hope we don't stop too long. My concert is soon. I don't want to keep them waiting. Nah, it's river time. Nobody expects you to be punctual. Hey, why don't you give that tape recorder a try? See if that cat over there has anything he wants to say. No, I often use found sounds in my music. If you find some interesting sounds tonight, you can help me out. I wonder if the music that I assume we are eventually going to hear from her will actually be in some way based on what we do with this tape recorder. Okay, well that was about as helpful as a cat has ever been. Conway ain't looking so good. Oh man, I turned off the tape recorder right before the big one. Oh, now I'm Conway. Think. Wait, no, now I'm no one. The constant shifting of focus is a thing that still catches me off guard. Oh, Conway, buddy. It's like completely through Shannon here. That's probably not what is supposed to be happening. You know, it's the strangest thing. I can't remember why I came up here. Fresh air? Maybe. It's homey in that cabin, though, and warm. It's just that thing about... What was it? When you walk through a door? When you go into the kitchen for something, and as soon as you pass from one room to another, you forget what you wanted. And you have to walk back out just to remember. Like you left a part of your brain behind. Hey, I wonder if I could follow that brain crumb trail all the way back to the room I was born in. Conway cranes his neck over the railing. It looks cold down there. And dark. You weren't in the cabin long. You get any sleep? I had a weird dream. Yeah, that's when you get the strangest dreams. When you just nod off, right? Just kind of dip your toes into sleep, and some weird image floats by and takes a nibble. Shannon leans over the railing and looks at the river below. She's probably trying to get some fresh air. It's hard to breathe inside Conway's chest. Yeah, it does look cold, doesn't it? Yeah. You better keep that kid away from the edge. Person could easily fall in, and he's been exploring. Should I be worried? Oh, I'm fine. Yeah, but I was talking about Ezra. Oh. Well, it's good for him. It's important to know how to, how to be alone. Well, what's up, huh? You look like there's something you want to ask. Fine, you can ask it. One question. Yeah, it does seem like he's maybe drinking a beer there, huh? I thought you didn't drink. I don't even want to talk about the hard times thing. Well, I didn't. I mean, I did, and then I didn't, and then I did again. That's how it always goes. I drift out, finally wind up back at Lisette's with my head between my legs, saying never again. 15 months this last time. I think I hung on because I knew there wouldn't for much longer be anywhere to go back to. She went to live with her sister now, and she probably won't remember me for long anyway. One time, she picked me up out of a ditch by the road, blackout drunk at dawn. I came around later that night. She'd taken care of me. I told her I didn't deserve it, and she said I didn't have to deserve it. Yeah, wow, she sounds like a saint. We should all have someone like that. You wouldn't say that if you knew her when she was younger. That girl was wild. I guess she's got her own problems now. I wish I could help out. Hey, maybe I could make some money and send it to her sister. Maybe they'll keep me on at the distillery, I mean. No, I shouldn't get ahead of myself. I've got to repay my debt. Well, I should be grateful for the opportunity. If you want to die with any dignity, you gotta settle up. That's why it's such a damn shame when people go sudden. Yeah, that's why. There's one of those insidious ideas about debt and morality that's crept into our culture. We don't need to talk about all my feelings about that, but suffice it to say, I have a lot of feelings about that. I'm sure I talk too much. Everyone on this river does. The problem is that we listen twice as much as that, and we're only telling you half the stories we hear. Kate told me that I ought to have been a photographer. She said, "You have an uncanny way of having been in the place at the time the thing happened there, and that's the hardest part of taking a photograph anyway." You know, I bet that's true. It's nice of her to say, but it isn't true. Though I know just about every story on this river, most of them I picked up second, third, or fourth hand, and so on. Listening, see? Now, I know what you're going to ask, so I'm going to answer it. Yes, I'm sure they're all true. I personally believe a story gets more true as it's tossed around from brain to brain, and the whole community brings their insight to bear on the brittle facts of experience. You know, there are a few Echo River stories I witnessed directly. I saw that big owl migration pass through. You might have heard about that. And I was there when the old train station flooded. I saw the ghost of Stephen Bishop brew up a batch of white lightning on a raft. Or, anyway, I talked to a few soldiers who'd recently crossed paths with him. You know, I suspect sampled his wares. One night, when I was working on the Mucky Mammoth, we picked up a gaggle of passengers headed down to a mail drop by the Silo of Late Reflections. I knew a couple of them in passing, a pair of traveling musicians whom I often encountered on the river. The others were strangers to me at the time. A young woman, a small boy, and an old man whose name I didn't catch. Oh, and a smelly old dog. We docked at a gas station so the Mammoth could refuel. Do we go into the gas station or do we stay on the tugboat and record sounds? I mean, I guess we could record sounds either way, right? I am curious about the map room. Yeah, let's stay on the tugboat. There's nothing Ezra needs to be doing in the gas station. It's funny how, like, the way a work is composed, even if everything else about what happens around it is the same, this whole thing is going to feel quite different based on whether we did the gas station scene or the map scene, even if there's no large narrative change from it. And I think it's really cool that you get decisions like that, especially without knowing exactly what effect they'll have. Ezra watches the lake drift by. He sees a school of green fish, a floating gas station, half a dozen dirty buoys tethered together with black rope, a lone swimmer in a green vest. Should you be swimming in this river? Well, what a relief. Thanks for taking the wheel. Our secret, okay? Yeah, let's... Hey, what's this lever do? Well, that controls the winch, if we need a little more slack on our haul or something. I should have probably explained that to you earlier, huh? Oh, hey, there's the gas station. I was hoping we'd cross paths soon. It just kinda drifts around. You never know where you'll meet it. As you can see by this dial right here, our fuel situation is pretty desperate. I have a bad habit of letting that needle spend a lot of time in the red zone. We should only be docked at the gas station for a few minutes refueling. You might just want to stay aboard. So, you like boats? I don't think Ezra's ever been on a boat before. Well, no, that's not true. Ezra definitely had opportunities to be on a boat because there was a boat at the museum. But maybe he's never been on a boat on actual water. You know, I used to watch a cartoon about a boat. It was about pirates. And there was all this dark water. Oh man, I want to watch this show. They were all dogs. Dog pirates. And one of them was a parrot. But he just acted like a normal parrot. That sounds great. I'll have to look out for that one. So, what else did I neglect to explain earlier? Well, this area here is called the wheelhouse. All these gauges and controls help me understand what's going on with the mucky mammoth in her haul. This is a compass, but it doesn't work very well down here for some reason. I just go by landmarks, basically, and lights. And did you see those 2 lights on the side of the boat? A red one and a green one? All the other boats have them too. Some are different colors or in different configurations. So if we cross paths with someone, right away I can work out what kind of boat they're in and what direction they're going, even in the dark. It's all about looking up here. The other half of piloting this boat happens down in the map room. Speaking of which, have we passed the big rock that looks like a dinosaur yet? Boy. I wonder if we actually passed any of this stuff, or if Ezra's just making up stories. No, but we passed a tall building covered in Christmas lights. Ah, river folks call that the lighthouse. It used to be an art museum, but their collection went out of fashion and they had to put it all in storage. I don't know who put those Christmas lights up. Some artist, I guess. I wonder if that's the museum that we were in the interlude after Act 1. Now, that's weird. We should definitely have passed Dinosaur Rock by now. Kate looks out the window. Oh, wait, there it is, up ahead, see? Wow, that is my new favorite rock. That's great, right? What was your old favorite rock? What kind of rock do we think Ezra would be into? There was a big rock in the woods behind my house. I mean, like, really, really big. Cool. It's strange, though. According to my charts, we should have passed Dinosaur Rock before the lighthouse. But that's okay. Sometimes the charts need updating. Hey, Will's down in the map room right now. Could you run down and help him adjust the charts to move the lighthouse so it comes a little earlier on our route than Dinosaur Rock? The map room's down below deck on the lower level, right next to the sleeping quarters. I'll get on the intercom and let him know you're coming. Seems like you could get on the intercom and let him know the thing you were just talking about. I'm gonna record the sound of this bottle. Kinda doesn't seem like anything. Do I need to touch it? Maybe I'm just recording the sound of Kate concentrating on her job. It's interesting that she says the job is all about looking, while Will is so fixated on listening. Hey, Conway, buddy, how you doing? Hey. What's up? You look like you're about to fall asleep. No, I don't think I could ever sleep on a river. You're right, though. It's been a long day. I should maybe find some coffee to go with all this beer. Or just move on up to the real stuff. Doesn't weigh you down as much, you know? No, of course you don't. Hey, what am I talking about? Who knows? Okay, bye. I'm really worried about Conway. I mean, like, obviously the alcoholism is bad, but also in a long-term sense, I'm really worried about Conway and the situation and everything. We've sort of painted Conway as a guy who avoids talking about and thinking about the situation. But, okay, hold on. I want to go down here and then click the arrows to change decks. So is up's just going to take me back there. Yeah. Unfortunately, the thing about debt is you can't really just ignore it. It doesn't go away. Wow, this is harder than it looks. She's playing a theremin. Yeah, it takes a certain kind of ear. Oh, like perfect pitch? Do you have that? Not really that. It's more like muscle memory. When I'm playing the theremin, I kind of hear with my hands. I mean, I must sound ridiculous. No, I think I get it. A theremin is a real weird thing. I mean, she seems to be doing it. Oh, she's certainly doing something. I guess it's hard to tell if it's the thing she's trying to do or not. I would like to enter the map room. Oh, you have to go around. I guess there's no place in that that wall for a door. Hey, Will. He totally is the organist from the Bureau. I did click on... Okay, there we go. Salutations, small man. Kate says you have an adjustment for our charts. Good timing. I'm just checking my copies. That's how we keep our charts up to date. As we pass through a section of the river or lake, I draw a new copy of the map and make adjustments for anything we see that doesn't match. Will points to a small drawing on the map. So, this is where we have Dinosaur Rock marked now. This little dinosaur drawing. I drew that. What kind of dinosaur is it? Oh, you know, just a dinosaur. Will points to some other small drawing on the map. And this here is where we thought the lighthouse was. But now I guess we gotta move it back a bit. But how far? I wonder. Any ideas? Anything else you remember about when you saw the lighthouse? I don't think Ezra's paying close enough attention to the clock. You know, there was another boat we passed around the lighthouse, a sailboat with a painting of a fish on the sail. Aha, that must have been Mary Kennedy out fishing. She usually anchors right around here, but you didn't hear that from me. She's very protective of her good fishing spots. Alright, that should do it for the new copy. Oh, I made some other corrections. Tucked in the banks a little, made this section deeper, and left off a shipwreck that must have washed away or been scavenged into splinters. Of course, it means a lot of clutter, all these old copies. Say, Will gestures to a pile of old maps. I was just about to throw this stack out, and maybe you'd like to hang on to one. They're out of date, but they could be fun to look at. These are mostly river charts, I think. Take a look through, see if one of them catches your eye. Yeah, I would love a free, weird map of a thing that doesn't look like that thing anymore. Let's look at the oldest map. Here, turn it around, yeah, there you go. There's no real idea of north down here, like magnetic or otherwise, so we just hold the maps with the current pointing down. The river curves clockwise around a few small islands. A note is scribbled along the margin. Islands just below the surface, only visible under bright light. Yeah, they come and go, the islands, that is. I still mark them if I see them. Ezra examines... You know, I want to look at the other maps, sure. Let's look at the torn map. The edges of this map are torn in gentle strips, probably by an idle hand and an absent mind. Boy, I got both of those things. Oh yeah, I remember that day. Slow currents. Boring. Not that I mind. It's healthy to get a little bored sometimes. A long tear runs in a clockwise curve along the paper, through the middle of the river. The two sides are held together by paper clips, woven into the paper like stitches. You know, that one I found wrapped in plastic. Quite well preserved. I wrapped it up like that so the chalk wouldn't smear. I must have lost my pencil that day. I don't remember. The river curves clockwise. There are no islands marked, but a few other landmarks are indicated with chalk circles. Will points to one of the chalk circles. That one was the lighthouse, I'm pretty sure. I think I like the faded old map. Oh, nice. Well, thanks for your help with the chart adjustments. Our next stop is a bar called the Rum Colony. I guess you're not much of a barfly, but you might like to run around on the beach. And the decor is, well, I'd be curious to hear what you think of it. That's a curious thing to say. That gas station isn't anchored to anything. It follows the current. We might run into it anywhere along the river. Kate just starts looking for it when she's low on fuel, and the Echo provides. It's not usually on the lake, though. That was strange. Kate says the place doesn't... Oh, no, Kate had a theory. I want to hear about Kate's theory. She thought the rude weather upstairs was flooding the river, and everyone headed down to the lake to ride it out on calmer waters. Anyway, my mechanical musician friends went ashore for a bit too, looking for some snack foods. Kate doesn't stock anything aboard the Monkey Mammoth that doesn't grow wild, and that's not to everyone's taste. Or maybe just to stretch their limbs and charge their batteries. They came back looking kinda confused, though. I don't mean confused like... Not like when somebody asks you a question and you don't know the answer, but you feel like you should, and you get that kind of alarmed blankness in your mind's eye. It's not like that. They looked confused like when you see two kinds of motor oil, and they cost the same, and you've never heard of either of them, and you read all the text on both packages, but all that new information just makes the choice seem even more impossible. And you might be inclined to flip a coin, but how could you with something that important? Naturally, I assume they met the gas station attendant, a man as anonymous and itinerant as the place itself. I assume he talked their ear off. Everyone on this river does. But I know that fellow well enough to know he wouldn't want us reminiscing on him now. So they came back aboard, Mammoth refueled, and we ambled on toward the rum colony. I guess from the menu we could just choose any act at any time. It's probably not that hard to go back and see the scenes you didn't get to see. Although to some extent I wonder if that's spoiling the point of the choice. Oh, Shannon definitely retreated. Oh man, I want to see the rum colony, but I also really want to see the Mammoth's video collection. I think I want to see this more. You're definitely, by the way, getting a little bit of my bias to not go outside and see new things. It's like, nah, you guys go have fun. I'll find something fun to do here on this computer. I sure do love here on this computer. Oh, there's even more of those little hermit crabs. Alright, let's look for something new here. Shelves are full of dusty tapes. Some have been relabeled several times, the stickers piling up thick on their spines. Funeral thing, that's curious. Can we move around in here at all? No, okay. An elderly couple sit on folding chairs in the middle of a TV studio, undecorated except for a funeral lily in a thin blue vase on the table. The lights are a bit too dim to make out their features. She reads from a newspaper with unhurried efficiency. Gloria B. of Munfordville passed away on Monday at her residence. Survivors include her children, Dakota, Montana, Minnesota, and Bobby, all of Munfordville. A memorial service will be held at 7 p.m. Thursday at Hatton Huffman Funeral Home in Munfordville, with cremation to follow. She never knew Gloria. He thinks he may have heard the name, wondering aloud if she ever worked at a cafe down there in Munfordville. The woman who ran that place was once called Gloria, or maybe still is. They take a call, someone who knew Gloria B., if not very well. The caller once installed a satellite dish at Gloria's house, a 900-square-foot ranch-style home on 2 acres at a dead end, backed by weeds and pine. When the caller mounted the ladder up to Gloria's roof, she slid open her window and tugged urgently at his pant leg. He followed her gaze behind the house to 2 wild turkeys picking through the weeds. Gloria and the caller watched, silent and still, as the huge birds foraged obliviously into the trees. Then he installed the satellite dish. If you've never had an opportunity to be near a wild turkey, they do tend to do things pretty obliviously, in my experience. And then they get startled, and they try awkwardly to fly away, but their body and wings aren't really flight-shaped. It's more like an assisted jump. I did see one clear a 2-story house one time, though. Shannon combs through the video archive. I am still curious about weather, also art things. There's just a tape with question marks written on it, huh? We can't ignore that. That awful hum. It seems to start even before Shannon hits play. Then there's the familiar room. There are the blank gray walls marked with tape, and school desks, and this time she notices a few more details. The murky carpet like standing water, some video equipment stashed in the corner, a row of lockers. And there's Weaver, looking serenely at the camera. As before, she starts speaking, and, as before, there's no sound but that hum. Shannon finds Weaver's words coming back to her, as they appear in captions on the screen. Mail, school, and these magnificent tragic horses. Go underground, as deep as you can go. The air is cool and the earth is damp, and when you close your eyes, you're surrounded by the dead. Remember where that is? You'll find your way from there. I think this place is what you're looking for. Some of it will wash away soon, but I think you'll be happy here, even without the mail, school. The text repeats for a few minutes, and Shannon stops the tape. And seems remarkably unperturbed by the whole thing. I guess at some point you're going to get used to it, right? It turns out you can get used to just about anything. So it looks like we could leave this sequence whenever we want, maybe. I really do want to check out a couple of these other tapes, though. I'm really curious if this is about the weather that is experienced down here in the underground on the Zero and the Echo River, because I definitely have some questions. The on-screen title identifies this program as The History of Weather, Volume 3, Drought. Okay, so very much not the thing I was hoping for. Over footage of a dry riverbed, the program's narrator explains the differences between modern drought and ancient drought. The narrator proposes that modern drought may hardly be considered weather at all, since its severity and behavior are so influenced by human activity. I mean, that doesn't make it not weather. Weaver is bored. Sorry, Shannon is bored. Wherever Weaver is, she might also be bored. Science. Hey, I'm a fan. Let's relax with some Mr. Wizard. It looks like Will, though much younger, reclined on a sofa and taking calls. His arm, draped over the back of the couch, holds a bottle of something clear. People call in with stories of their encounters with the supernatural. Will offers little commentary or response. He acknowledges them. Sometimes he interrupts to clarify or repeat something back to them, but mostly he just listens and pulls from that clear glass bottle. A handmade banner strung above the couch reads, "I believe you." I wonder if it was Will's voice that we heard on the phone. Alright, art thing. Very curious about the art thing. I hope you guys don't mind. Hopefully you've gotten the idea of the pace of this series at this point. If the last episode didn't clue you in, I guess nothing will. We're definitely going to check out as many tapes as it lets us. At first, she thinks the video might be paused, but on closer inspection, she can see the edges of the frame shrinking inwards around the chairs, desk, and loose gray furniture of a sterile waiting room. She watches for a while. She's not sure for how long, several minutes. The zoom tightens, so gradually she sometimes forgets it's happening at all, and finally rests on an oscillating desk fan. She ejects the tape before the next part of the triptych begins. How does she know it's a... Okay, never mind. Never mind, sometimes people just know things. That's just life out here on the Zero. Although I guess we're not on the Zero. That's just life here adjacent to the Zero. Trivia thing. I love trivia, and also things. The words tip of your tongue and a phone number are occasionally superimposed on the screen. A few dozen people sit in bleachers, shouting out ideas, loosely moderated by a short woman with a microphone and a laser pointer. One caller is trying to remember the name of an old friend she hasn't seen in years. It starts with a consonant. It's full of consonants, actually, and there are maybe one or two vowels. It sounds long, but she doesn't remember having had any trouble spelling it at any point. The friend had brown hair? That's probably not helpful. Another caller is trying to remember a verb that means to make oneself vulnerable. Something like to expose oneself, but not quite that. To become emotionally, spiritually vulnerable, like with a lover or a poem. A third caller just knows there was something he was supposed to do tonight. He offers some biographical background, a narrative of his day. He's unemployed, he has no real hobbies, and has already eaten. A few ideas from the bleachers. That's a... Lordy. That's a fascinating idea for a show. You don't hear people say Lordy very much. I guess that might be a bit of a regional thing. I like that we're getting some reaction out of Shannon. Some reaction out of Shannon that doesn't have to be motivated by us. Birds, sure. Let's see about birds. Maybe this is part of an Alfred Hitchcock retrospective. Blueback Morning swings across the screen. The birdwatcher tramps through dewy grass. He stops with a wet grunt and rests the camera on a pile of rocks. Birds from Great Distances, Episode 12, appears briefly on screen. He twists the lens by hand, pushing the frame past trees, onto the road, and coming to a halt zoomed in on a fuzzy, fist-sized artifact resting on the momentary stroke of a telephone wire. Shannon and the birdwatcher observe. He breathes heavily, and she holds her breath, like she's afraid he might hear her, afraid of distracting him or of being discovered and contaminating his perfect isolation. Traffic picks up, indifferent. As the sky lightens, the black smudge in the center of the frame gradually becomes more prominent, but never in any greater detail. Well, okay, birds from a great distance. I mean, it does what it says on the tin. I guess the label's on the inside of the tin. Here, you know what I mean. Oh, more birds. Apparently there were more of these, and I just didn't have any interest in them until I knew what the series was. But now I'm hooked. I can't stop watching it. Storage Wars, you're dead to me. It's raining heavily as the title Birds from Great Distances, Episode 27, flashes on screen. She knows by the sound, the volley of rainwater on mud, tree branches, the rusted bed of an old pickup, and on the birdwatcher's own skin and hair. He swears under his breath. She can hear the rain there, too, in his wet breath and the wet exclamation of his palm slopping the water from his forehead and shoulders. The camera is pointed at a cedar shed with one hinged door angling erratically in the storm. From this distance, it's hard to tell if it's been damaged or simply left open. When the door swings wide, she can see that the shed is full of small boards. Scraps, maybe, or rough-cut pieces meant for very small projects and then stacked carelessly on shelves, in piles, quickly sorted and then forgotten. And there's the bird, a blue ball taking shelter on the shed floor, nested in scrapwood. Well, I mean, dude's good at his job. He sure can find birds from great distances. Tell me there's another one. Hell yeah, birds again. This is great. We're just going to binge watch this whole series. The video is black. Shannon only knows it's playing because of the cicadas. And then Birds from Great Distances, Episode 81. The screen isn't totally dark, of course. It's what she thinks of as video black, really a deep mottled blue, noisy with magnetic decay and the cottony limits of the camera's sensors. It's the black she sees before she goes to sleep. The night black, the eyes shut against streetlights black. She has more words for it than she expected. She wonders what words the birdwatcher uses for it. She wonders where he is relative to the camera, or where the bird is, for that matter. Yeah, the thing is, he's so good at his job, there's no way he's not observing a bird from a great distance, right? I believe him. I trust. I believe him like Will believes me. Alright, shopping. A woman sits at a card table with a lamp, notepad, and a beige multi-line telephone. A scrolling marquee reads, "Swap shop, buy, sell, trade, or want to buy? Call the broker." And then a phone number, repeating without pause. Eddie has fresh eggs to trade for a basil plant. A dozen eggs for one plant, which is a steal, and Eddie's eggs are good eggs. Sadie has a bag of fine shells. No reasonable offer will be refused. Christopher is looking for a scrub plane in decent shape. It doesn't have to be too nice, just something to get a tabletop near to flat from some oak that's been air drying in a barn for 20 or maybe 30 years. And while it's true he could get the job done without it, since he's got a nice heavy jack plane his father used to use, he'd just as soon not fuss with grinding a camber into it. And anyway, he has a little extra capital from a swap earlier in the week, and wouldn't mind putting it down on a decent scrub plane before the cash burns a hole through his pocket. Carla is looking to trade typing services for calligraphy services, or vice versa. Okay. The broker takes notes and switches lines, but never speaks, drunk on the hum of commerce. It's a dangerous opiate. I wonder how ubiquitous the experience of public access television is, because I'm getting a real public access television vibe from a lot of this stuff. Let me know in the comments. I'm actually really curious, especially since I know, based on Google Analytics, which are who knows how accurate, that my audience skews a little bit younger than I am. Let me know if you know what public access television is, or if you have any personal experience of watching it. Alright, she steps away from the tapes and wipes the dust from her hands. I also don't know if it's a thing that still happens? I guess I don't really know that much about how TV works. Hold on, am I allowed to just, wander around in here? Obviously we're gonna wander. How you doing, Blue? Is that a thing you're allowed to be eating? Well, I guess Shannon doesn't know any better if it's not, so good on you. Wait a second, I saw a prompt. I think I saw a prompt. I don't know. Mayhap I am, in fact, a fool. Wait, hold on a second. I want to look around in here. Whoa. She bends really strangely to get around the split deck there. I guess that's a lantern, maybe? Or a spittoon. I guess if you're going to be on a ship with people who might chew some tobacco, you want to have spittoons kind of littered all over the place to avoid the other consequences. I'm having a hell of a time directing her around these stairs. Here we go. How's everybody doing? No, it was only a few notes. Slow and sad, like funeral music, you know? I don't remember it being sad, just simple and unburdened. Maybe that's what funeral music sounds like to me. Unburdened. Oh, hello. Kate and I were just trying to remember the mammoth's song. But neither of us have heard it for years. Will just found the mechanism. In the mammoth's belly, hidden in gritty, matted fur. Ha! It's like a big music box, a slowly spinning cylinder covered in metal pins that pluck her dulcet guts and pump the bellows in her bowels. But some of the pins are rusted and worn away, and easy to replace if we can even remember what the notes were. Did I hear you browsing the archive next door? Did you find anything good? I found something pretty unsettling. No, you know what? I want to know where the videos come from first. This is the sort of thing where I only get to pick one of them usually. I want to know where she found these videos. Well, people just left them on board. Passengers, I mean. They used to all be movies and that kind of stuff. I like nature documentaries especially. Some people left home movies or little art videos they'd made, but that damned VCR devours anything you leave in it. We did eject the last tape, right? I think we did. It just switches into record mode at random, I think, and picks up whatever's coming in over the antenna. Of course, the only station we get down here is that WEVP. Community television, you know? They've got that show with the gentleman playing banjo in his birthday suit. I'm sure you've seen it. Oh, yes. And if there's no tape in the machine when it starts recording, it makes that awful sound. Like putting a squeaky toy in a food processor. I can hear it above the deck. Awful. And that's why I put the sign up. Please do not rewind after watching. At least that way nothing gets taped over anymore. Do we want to talk to Will about this? I'm kind of curious about WEVP. One thing I've not caught on video is that we do get a station logo for WEVP when I launch the game. It's like the very first thing that happens before it even takes us to the save menu. I kind of want to talk to Will about his show. You know, you were in one of the videos. I believe you, it said. Where was that taped? You had a TV show? I never knew. No, I don't believe I ever have. The title sounds familiar, but more like it's something I heard about, like secondhand information. Well, they let anybody on there, that's the whole idea. Community television, or public access, they call it. I would say it's possible that I did the show you saw, and then forgot. It wouldn't be the first time. The studio... No, I can't say I remember where EVP is, sorry. You should meet Dashiell. He did a lot of volunteer work for WEVP in the early days. You know, wiring up antennas and relays, stuff like that. I think you two would have a lot to talk about. He works at the telephone exchange. Oh no, I'm afraid he's been let go. Oh yeah? That's odd. He still takes the ferry to work every day. I mean, I'm sure he's at the telephone exchange right now, in fact. I dropped him there a few hours ago. We're stopping at the telephone exchange again shortly to deliver their mail and pick up their trash. You should go ashore when we do. Ask for Dashiell. Okay, we can do that. I rarely miss a chance to lounge on the beach around the rum colony, and I do enjoy a drink, though I don't find their signature liquor suits me. But this time I elected to stay aboard and shoot the breeze with Kate over some mineral water. Still, I heard reports. I wonder if he comes with you if you choose to go inside. Ezra told me about the Dark Corners. See, that beach is lit by a congregation of amber torches stuck in the sand. They mix the torch fuel with citronella oil. It keeps the bugs away, which keeps the bats away, but the light doesn't fall very far from the flame. The rest is shadows and sandy echoes, and that's the part Ezra wanted to tell me about. He said he found a treasure. You know, I knew better than to pry. Boy, maybe I should learn how to not pry someday. But then you're going to miss out on all the interesting stuff. Like Will has here, which actually kind of bothers me. Oh, if we're talking about the rum colony, I should tell you about Patch. He's the bartender, general manager, creative director. I guess that means he books the music? He's pretty much run the place for the last 7 years. A lot of folks assume he owns it, but that is not the case. The rum colony is owned by a dead man named Vernon. Technically, it would be owned by the power company, who once bought a sizable interest from Vernon as part of a state-sponsored investment program, but a clause in that arrangement requires them to keep their hands off the day-to-day, and most of the profits. So long as Vernon walks this earth. So long as Vernon walks this earth. The upshot of all this is that nobody came forth to identify the body. Patch is a good guy, though. Kind, trustworthy, and he mixes a strong Mai Tai, if that's your thing. You know, I bet he mixes a strong Mai Tai even if it's not your thing. Is that a single swing? What kind of maniac builds a swing set that has a single swing? Valkyrie must be the name of the other dog. So we could see a scene that's just the dogs. That's kind of interesting. I do like a good dog story. The pizza dog issue of that one era run is very strong. But Clara, Kate, and I stopped to do some business by telephone. I'm a little bit more curious about the lives of the people on the boat. A phone. That's a lot more sane than a swing set with a single swing on it. Who would do such a thing? Well, it's one of the most menacing ideas I can conceive of. Also, how does this phone... What's it connect... Okay, never mind. I guess we're going to be here for a minute. Looks like they have a few calls to make. What are you going to do? Yeah, that's a good question. I just thought I'd stretch my legs, on firm ground. Didn't realize this place would be floating on barrels. Back when I was driving long hauls, that's the real big trucks now, I sometimes wouldn't leave the cab but to pump gas. I took my meals in there, I slept in there, I changed my socks in there, the whole thing. So, One time I was hauling a bunch of big spools, telephone wire I think actually, up from California into Washington State. You know where that is? It's way out, on a map, it's kind of to the left of here, more or less. In between California and Washington, there's a place called Oregon, and you can't pump your own gas there. They have a guy who does it called a gas jockey, and you better not even open your door, they get all suspicious. There are places in America, I don't know if it's still the case, but there definitely at least were places in America where it is actually illegal for you to pump your own gas. You have to let the station attendant do it. That sounds weird to us now when I say it, like, given, sort of the way we have culturally feel about that stuff. But when you think about it, it's a slightly dangerous process, and there's a lot of highly technical machinery involved. I could see where that idea comes from, at least. I drove through California and into Washington, and I refueled in the middle in Oregon. And so I didn't set foot out of my truck for a whole day. When I came out of that cab, the ground rushed up like it missed me. Gave me a big old kiss right on the chin, right here. What I'm saying is... hell, I forget. What am I even talking about? You were saying you can't pump your own gas in Oregon. Oh, yeah, exactly. Don't forget that. And don't say I never taught you anything. Well, I guess I'll head back aboard. Might see if I can find any of the good stuff stashed maybe in the spice cabinet? Maybe in the medicine cabinet. That's where it belongs. Hell, who am I talking to? Don't listen to me, kid. I'll see you in a few. Yeah, I'm getting, real worried about Conway. Where'd he get that lay? I guess it must have been at the rum colony. I guess I don't know exactly where the boat is from here. Maybe you do have to swim back. It seems like you would, I don't know. Probably, other people we took a boat here, and he doesn't want to wait for us to take the boat back, right? So he just swims back. It does seem not ideal. I'd be real worried about these waters. They're, spooky. Boy, that's actually playing in voice, but it's so quiet, I'm not 100% sure if it's coming through.
I remember going to a house in Aroostook County, Maine. I was 2, and we were moving, and we were driving up in a white Nissan station wagon with faux wood paneling. And it was the first time that I'd seen the house that I was going to live in for the next 7 years.
Okay, I think when I tab out, it's going to kill the audio for a second, which is why I didn't want to do it while that was playing, but I'm going to turn the game up a little bit here. Hold on. Let's see if here we go. It did not, in fact, kill the audio. Clicking and beeping. So is this a person calling into the show, maybe? I mean, I know Will said he doesn't remember it, but I don't know that means very much, given what we know about Will.
Being washed in the bathroom sink.
Yo, I swear to you I doubled the audio output. I'm going to turn it up even a little bit more. We're going to go, real high.
I was just parking my car. I had to parallel park it. The street that I live on was full, but there was a nice but it just got cold today for the first time in a long time. So I had the heat on. And whenever you have the heat on in an old car, it definitely smells a certain way. It smells kind of like, it almost smells, you can smell that it's hot, and you can feel it too, but the smell that it is from the car itself, from the engine, and there's been a lot of smoking going on in that car, so it's not exactly a pleasant smell, but it's definitely strong, and it's definitely there. And with the windows down, you can also smell that it's cold. So you get both. And that feeling together is super familiar if you've been in old cars a lot. Anyway, I was parking, and I had to go in and out about it 3 times. But when I finally finished parking, it was perfect. both wheels against the curb, and that's when I had like the double memory. When I first learned how to drive, my mom taught me how to parallel park. She told me the story about when her dad, who was a motorcycle cop, taught her how to parallel park. And every time she parallel parked, he would take out a dime, and if he could fit the dime between the wheel of her car and the curb of the street, then she had to do it again. She didn't do that for me, but every time that I got upset about having to do it again, she would tell me that at least I didn't have to be a dime's distance away from the curb. I learned how to drive in the fall, and I got that snow a lot during that time. And I don't know when my mom learned to drive.
There has been so little spoken dialogue over the course of the game. I hadn't really thought about it, the fact that that whole interlude was all spoken and like that was probably narratively significant. But now that we're seeing this laid right against the non-spoken normal gameplay, I wonder what point is being made. Like, it's definitely something about the listening, right? About Will and his obsession with the importance of listening. It's something I'm gonna have to think on a little bit.
Oh, probably going to school. I can't sleep because the trees are scraping against my window, and it reminds me of a tongue scraping against my skin.
So I guess this confirms that Will was in fact the voice we were hearing on the phone, right? Because these are people calling in to the various extension numbers and leaving messages. Can I tell you, I'm a little surprised that those were actually recorded.
What? I'm about to cross an ocean. I worry about my dog. Can't sleep anywhere near a place. The gas is sold. Not when it's being sold, but when it's not being sold.
Huh.
It was tough to hold on to this thing, but yeah, my hands are pretty damp. I remember the number 10 in a flashcard with a turkey on it. It had a yellow background.
The frogs are too loud.
Just generally true.
Not a whole lot. I guess I was walking. I was in a stroller in Treetops Park in Florida. My mother accidentally pushed me into a spider web. And I freaked out a lot. I think that's the first thing I remember.
We were sent for.
We were sent for. I'm trying to remember, what were the things where we were asked to... When we dialed an extension, there was a thing where we were supposed to describe water if we had found a type of water that they hadn't found. There was the thing about why you couldn't sleep, or a place where you couldn't sleep. It sounds like some of these have been about a memory, like an early memory, maybe the first thing you remember, which I don't remember. It's maybe an extension that I failed to dial? I don't remember hearing that. But I wonder what this is a response to.
I keep hearing these noises whenever I close my eyes. It's like bells ringing. But the bells aren't metal bells or ceramic bells. They're kind of bells like normally hear. They're like this weird
redness. And as soon as I open my eyes again, there's nothing.
I remember driving across an old dirt road.
My birthday party at McDonald's in Hawaii. I got a toy that I didn't like. I broke it.
Getting caught next in the jungle trip. I was crying for that monster truck rally that my parents to take me out, and they missed it. One of those two.
Boy, you would have to cry real loud at a monster truck rally for it to be a problem, because a monster truck rally is a really loud place. Although I guess that's exactly how you get the child to cry in the first place.
Seriously?
Part of me wonders if we keep listening to these, if we're going to hear whatever it was I said when we dialed one of the things. It could totally have recorded me, right? Like, obviously I have a microphone set up. Windows knows how to access it.
Whether I wear boots or sneakers, my feet always feel damp. Cold and damp.
That sounds like a nightmare. That sounds like hell right there.
Well, I was hoping that you'd be able to tell me why I can't sleep. It seems like it's been a long time, and it seems like it's been it's time to sleep now.
End of new messages.
Now, don't you go diving in too. It's actually really cold and kind of dangerous. Did he say where he was going? He's looking for the good stuff. I see. Still thirsty. Kate keeps some diet soda in the broom closet, but you didn't hear it from me. It's next to the bleach. Bring a flashlight. Oh, no, I don't think that's what he's looking for. So, any important messages? Every single one. Now, where are you headed tonight, small man? I'm just following my friends. Is this young woman your friend? We met Ezra earlier tonight, and he's been very helpful. I'm hoping we can return the favor once we get back above ground. Poor kid was sleeping at the bus station and just lost track of his folks. He'll be all right. He's more at home down here than any of us. Trust me, I have an eye for it. He does seem to be doing all right. And I guess if anybody would know, it'd be Will. Kate, thanks for calling. I hope I didn't wake you up. No, I can't really get comfortable enough to sleep anymore, except in the car. No, not driving, in the passenger seat, reclined. Eric drove me around the reservoir this afternoon, and I got an hour or two in. I couldn't get settled in bed, so I was just watching TV. Some cooking show about high-concept junk food, and everyone from my high school chemistry class was there, making cupcakes out of old bicycle parts. I think I might have dozed off a bit, actually. Honestly, this baby can come out whenever he wants. I am completely over it. Well, good for you. You sound really confident. Oh, it's all an act. I'm actually... Phone line makes a horrible sound. Whoa. God, the phones down here are such a mess. Hey, Kate, I really appreciate you checking in. I have your pager number, and so does Eric, just in case I'm, too, distracted or whatever. I'll let you go. I should try to eat something. Try some of that lichen oil I left, just to settle your stomach. I'm not super comfortable advising any of these treatments, quote unquote treatments. This one's the least upsetting, I guess. Okay, thanks. Maybe I'll just chew on some ice. I'll talk to you soon, Kate. Hopefully. Just checking in on a client. Did I mention I'm a birth doula? Oh, wow, how does that fit in with being a tugboat captain? I would think that being a tugboat captain would make you not reliably available. Some women choose to come labor on the boat, actually. For the rest, I have a backup just in case I can't get back to dry land in time. I've been lucky and only had to lean on her a handful of times out of several hundred berths. You'd never believe how many people are just born all the time. A doula, that's like a nurse, right? Well, no, I don't have any formal medical training or licensing, just a lot of experience. I think most women who hire me mainly want someone in the delivery room who doesn't treat childbirth like some kind of disease to be cured. I mean, no hard feelings about no hard feelings against doctors, but they have their process, and it can be pretty alienating sometimes. Your friend went back aboard? Yeah, he's been drinking a bit. Oh, I should have pointed him toward the head. I'll tell you, I'm really glad we made the choice that we made here. I'm sure the dog scene is interesting and everything, but I'm really glad we got to listen to those phone messages. Oh, I'm glad you phoned. I was just thinking of you. Sorry I didn't call this week. I've been traveling constantly. That's fine. Yeah, I visited the hospital yesterday. I went to our Uncle Andreas, but they moved him. Now he's in a hospice care facility run by some old Polish nun. Everyone says it's very nice. I asked them about visiting, and they said he didn't want any visitors. He's just being stubborn. Yes, it's typical of Andreas. I was thinking maybe if you came to visit, he'd see you. All those afternoons you two would go drinking beers by the river. I mean, don't you think it would mean a lot to him if he could say goodbye to you in person? We must take him at his word. Maybe you know him better than I do, but I just don't believe anyone would really want to die alone. Oh, here's Mother at the door. We're going to try again to see him. I hope your tour's going well. Love you. Be careful. My sister, back home, she's very depressing to me this morning. My Uncle Andreas is terminally ill and refusing visitors, and Nadia's making a stir about it. Oh, I'm sorry to hear. Are you close? Yes, but only recently. He lived abroad for most of my life. I only met him a few years ago. My sister is older, so she knew him as a child, too. So I think her respect for him is distorted by sentiment. We must always take the dying at their word. Their motivations are beyond our understanding. The older man, he's swimming back to the mammoth? No emergency, I hope. Oh, I hope there's paper. It's been a busy night. He's writing a letter. Oh, I hadn't heard that euphemism. Must be Lithuanian. There's a weird game of telephone going on here about Conway's motivations. Brandon approaches. I don't suppose any folks are headed past the Bureau of Reclaimed Spaces? Can't get a hold of your ride? Yeah, my mom usually picks me up from work, but I got wrapped up in a card game and I didn't call her in time. I hitched a ride this far, but... That must have been quite a card game. Did you win anything? Oh, it's a variant of solitaire. I designed it myself. Well, it's a work in progress. It's no big deal. I'll just hang out and read or something until it's time to head back to work. Hey, you folks are traveling with that old guy, right? With the leg? Is he okay? I saw him earlier tonight. He came by the storage facility for some files. Oh, I did not realize that this is that guy. He totally bit it on the staircase. He's okay though, right? I think so. I don't know him too well. He's a passenger. Oh, cool. Hey, I guess he's well enough to swim. Well, have a good night. Or a morning, almost. Oh, hey, the things... Somebody ought to do something. Look who it is. Oh, is that you? Sorry, who are you calling for? It is you! I was trying to call a friend in Chicago, a lighting designer. The phone lines are acting up tonight. I believe it must be the storm. I heard it surged through Bowling Green just a few hours ago, sweeping telephone poles across the road in a tangled fan of kindling. Well, maybe you can help me out. I reckon you can. Here's the score. The performance is at dawn. We're coming right up to it. None of the cast is here yet, but that's okay. Hell, I'll enlist the audience if I have to. The stage crew, likewise, are delayed by bad weather. They may not make it in time, and they've got the props and the costumes with them. Well, I've done more with less. Good theater is always dangerous. My experimental stage production of The Death of the Hired Man can survive those tribulations, but there is one element still missing that is far more crucial. We can have theater without props, without stage setting, even without actors. But there is no theater without light. Of course, my production, experimental though it may be, aspires to emulate its source material. Frost's poem is framed by 3 sources of light and their effects on its subject, Mary. First, Mary stares a lamp flame on the table in front of her, while waiting for her husband Warren to come home. Second, she distracts herself from a painful conversation by examining the moonlight on her apron. Third, she watches a little silver cloud pass over the moon, dimming it, as Warren finds Silas dead in the next room. And yet, despite this rich tableau of moonlight, we perform at dawn, outside. I welcome the challenge, but how to meet it? And what I mean is, where, in this oily gas station by the highway at sunrise, is the moon? Where do you see it in your mind's eye? What's the first solution that appears? Oh, that's tricky. Have an actor play the moon dressed in white is like a real hokey solution. Tell everyone to close their eyes and imagine the moon. That's kind of an interesting idea. I've certainly never been to a play where they did that. So this reads as, we are very amateurish and have a low budget. This reads as, we are very amateurish and have a low budget, but also it's hokey. This is at least... This feels a little bit more artistic to me. I'm going to say this. It's minimalist, a bit sentimental, but it addresses the issue head-on, which I like. No hasty aesthetic papering over, just concede the issue and invite everyone to develop the solution. I can already imagine the reviews. It may prove a bit controversial. You have a natural sensitivity for this kind of work. No, an availability. It's your strongest quality. Wow, that's a screwed up thing to say to a person. Thanks. Oh, it's a quality that I feel is habitually sold short. Keeping oneself available, open to the vagaries of chance and experience, requires constant maintenance. It's a quality we have to nurture in ourselves. Our natural instinct is to close ourselves off from risk and opportunity. Okay, there was an implication when he said availability that is not necessarily what he actually meant. I'm less insulted now. A theologian I once happened to meet said, "Why make art? To quiet the mind, making it susceptible to divine influences." That's a kind of availability few of us ever attain. Well, I hope you make it to the premiere, though it's coming up very quickly, and I know you're still traveling. If so, I'll see you here at dawn. Safe travels, and thank you, as always, for your insight. I really, really hope we make it back. Although I also hope that the play is voiced. Oh yeah, the game's still, turned way up. Let me do something about that. Okay, we'll leave it a little bit louder than it initially was. That right there is Ratliff Monuments, if you ever need a headstone carved. For a loved one, I mean. Violet Ratliff, never married, nevertheless bore 6 children. Earl, Kelly, Barb, Ron, young Earl, and Beauty. And for each birth she locked the doors of Ratliff Monuments for only one day, even with young Earl, when she was in labor for 36 hours. Well, that's what folks said, and I met her, and I believe them. She had the unyielding disposition of a cliffside. None of Violet's children had any desire to go into monument making. Earl was more interested in car speakers. This was to be a lifelong passion for Earl, though cut short by bad wiring. The run of the shop fell at last to young Earl, the only Ratliff still at home when his mother finally passed at 82, and who then had the honor of engraving her headstone. He's done well for the most part. I imagine that's a thing that you would feel tremendous pressure about in his situation. But the shop was damaged in a flood several years ago. The showcase, a mock cemetery out front, was mostly washed away. Stone monuments, bobbing violently in the first torrents of the flood, eventually sank and spread along the channel bottom downriver, an elongated graveyard for no human loss, visited by eyeless fish and adorned with indifferent wreaths of algae. If a few stray stones ended up at the bottom of Lake Leth, too, we'll never know. Young Earl is the last of his short line, professionally, and there's nobody around qualified to carve his monument, so he's already claimed one of those at the bottom of the river for himself. Huh. The minimalism of the presentation of the Zero and the road above, but especially the Zero and the Echo, is really effective at getting you to imagine the details yourself. Or at least it's very effective at getting me to imagine the details myself, I should say. I'm kind of curious about how we would make some quick cash at the Radvansky Center. I'm also curious what a Radvansky Center is. However, I'll tell you, it feels like a question for another day. We're going to go ahead and load into the scene here and then stop for now. I'm getting a little carried away. I find this all very compelling. Like I mentioned last episode, playing it myself, I probably would have shot through it in a single sitting. Okay, this is certainly interesting. Here's the thing. I think a little scene's going to play out here. We really, really just don't have the time right now. So I'm going to call us here for today. Sorry to leave y'all in suspense. Come back next time to find out exactly what a Radvansky Center is and how we might fleece them. And we'll see you then.